Welcome back. You're watching Bottomline Africa. Let's continue with the broadcast. Now, Kenya is set to host a regional procurement conference from Wednesday this week, where over 300 procurement officials from government ministries, parastatals, and government-affiliated bodies from Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Burundi are expected to attend. The theme is strengthening of accountability and integrity of public procurement. Now, in studio to help us understand more about the conference are two individuals from the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. Many thanks for joining us. First, on my far left side is Polycarp Oduol, a Senior Policy Research Officer, and Jane Joroge, who's the General Manager in charge of Technical Operations at the Regulatory Authority. That's the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. Many thanks. Welcome to Bottomline Africa. So let's just get to understand a little bit more about the body, PPRA, that's the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, and what your mandate is. We could start with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us. The Public Procurement Regulatory Authority is a body created by the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015. So we are a body that is created by law to regulate public procurement and asset disposal proceedings in this country. Were actually created in 2008 under the repealed law, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal 2005. But with the enactment of the new law, the name changed. We used to be known as the Public Procurement Oversight Authority. Now, we are the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, meaning that our roles have changed, our mandate has changed significantly. We are regulating the public procurement in the entire Republic of Kenya and safeguarding the public funds where public funds are used. So we are covering up a lot of bodies, all public entities that are using public funds. We are regulating them, we monitor what they do, and we report the same both to the National Assembly, Parliament, and to the CS, or the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Finance at the National Treasury.
Okay.
Yes.
Polycarp, allow me to put you on the spot. Just mention the mandate of the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, which includes safeguarding public money, you know. But Kenya has been struggling with a couple of cases of theft of public money, you know, and one thing is common among some of these cases is that an internal audit reveals that the theft of public funds was due to procurement flaws. This is something that Kenyans have become accustomed to, perhaps in a couple of scandals that have happened. Let's talk about the preventive measures. In particular, how can we safeguard, even as a PPRA? How do you ensure that this does not happen? Even though it happens, how do you ensure that it does not happen? What steps have you put in place to ensure that as an oversight body, yes, we're in charge and this is our mandate, but this is happening, but how do we make sure that it shouldn't and it won't?
So at Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, and as my colleague has said, we monitor, assess, and investigate procuring entities to ensure that they comply with the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, together with the regulations issued under the same act. As we undertake our mandate, we normally ensure that we go deeper through the procurement assessment. We undertake reviews of the procurement processes to ensure that they are undertaken in accordance with the law. And in cases where we find any faults, we normally share the same information with the law enforcement agencies. Also, on the other end, the law mandates the public procurement procuring entities to publish the tenders, the contracts which they have awarded in the Public Procurement Information Portal, where the public can go in there. It's an open portal. The public can go in there, investigate, verify, and raise up a number of issues which they may find with the tenders. We also do complaints management, where a member of the public can report the same cases to us, then we can as well act on the same cases. So we are putting an elaborate measures to ensure that public funds are safeguarded through those reporting frameworks. We have issued mandatory reporting templates where on a quarterly basis some, depending on the procurement method used, if, for example, it's a direct procurement, it should be reported to us within 14 days after that occurrence, so that we look at them and confirm whether the procedures which are laid into in the Act were complied with. So we are putting very strong measures to ensure such happens.
Okay, perhaps even as you add up on that particular question I posed for him. Now, Mrs. Njoroge, there is this EAC meeting that is happening on the 28th to the 30th. Perhaps you can tell us more about it, what it is all about, and what is the main aim after this particular conference.
Okay. The East African member states, regulatory bodies, came up with this idea in 2008. We felt as an economic bloc, because the EAC bloc is supposed to be an economic bloc where countries are trading with each other. And procurement is all about business. And we wanted to harmonize our procurement systems so that when we have business community coming from Uganda, and they want to trade with Kenyan government, they do not feel like they are strangers. They are not put under regulations or registration that is very strange to them. So as a bloc, we came together and decided that perhaps it would be best that we harmonize our procurement system. We put our registrations to be in harmony so that we remove the blocks, trading blocks that would hinder good economic trade-off between the countries. So the countries came together, the regulatory bodies, and we decided, let us be meeting annually on a rotational basis. And it started in Uganda, in Kampala, in 2008. And we felt, apart from ourselves, we needed other stakeholders. For example, the professional bodies, they need to come in. The private sector, remember, government does not do business with itself. It has to involve the private sector. We need to have a conversation on how we can harmonize our rules, our regulations, and also borrow best practice from one another, and even globally. And also to have peer forums where we are benchmarking with each other. And also so that when we look at a procurement system of a particular country, it's not too way above than the others. And also that one hand can talk to the other, so that Ugandans know what Kenya is saying, Burundi knows what Rwanda is doing, so that at any time, if there are reforms that are happening in each particular country, they can be shared amongst ourselves, and then we agree. For example, if we are growing our SMEs and we are building the capacity of SMEs, like Kenya is doing, then it should happen across the border, because we do not want businessmen coming from Burundi who are not ready to do business with our government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Polycarp, even as we pick up on the importance of synergy in terms of the East African community, why did Kenya propose a theme that touches on integrity and accountability in procurement?
The theme was the theme came about as a result of the environment we are currently in. As you are aware, His Excellency the President is at the forefront in the fight against unethical practices, together with corrupt practices, to ensure that the systems in the country are streamlined, and we move towards stamping out such practices. So that is how we came up with the theme, so that we can continue with the conversation beyond Kenya. So that as within the East Africa community, also based on the previous forum held in Uganda last year, one of the items was mainstreaming measures aimed at stamping out or fighting corruption. So we picked it up from there and said we need to sustain this conversation and come up with strong recommendations or resolutions which the member countries can implement in the next 1 year. Also, we want to try and mainstream. The government adopted the e-procurement system, which is one of the measures aimed at stamping out corruption through limiting interaction between the business community and the public officers. So that is one of the areas. The world is also going towards open contracting, where as a country we need to sustain the dialogue of adopting the open contracting data standards, where we need to disclose as much information on open contracting done by the public, done through the public procurement, to ensure that this information is availed out to the public to enhance integrity and accountability, as well as transparency.
Okay. Well, many thanks. Obviously, it is major to be touching on integrity matters, and we surely hope that this particular conference is able to expound on the integrity in the public procurement system. And as top officials from the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, we surely thank you for making time and feel welcome. And I wish the forum a success, even as you meet up with our fellow East African